I don't remember falling asleep that night, but I remember the dream. It began in silence. A silence too heavy, too deliberate. It's a kind of silence that makes you aware of your own heartbeat. And then the sound, a knock at the door. Not frantic, not soft, just steady, almost polite. But I knew, even before opening my eyes, that I should never, ever answer the door at night. Still, the dream pulled me in. And once you step inside a dream like this, you don't wake up until it's finished with you. Long, narrow, stretching so far that it swallows perspective. The walls are wet, glistening as though they're sweating, dripping black stains onto the floor. Every step I take echoes back. It's twice. One echo mine, the other not. Something walks behind me, but when I turn, there's nothing but the hallway, bending into eternity. The lights above flicker, a long hum that presses against my skull. Buzzing, dimming, threatening to go out entirely. And at the far end, just barely visible, a door that should not exist. The air in the hallway feels heavy, damp, almost choking. Each breath tastes like rust, like the lingering scent of water left too long in a pipe. My shoes make no sound now, though I know I'm walking, and yet the echo continues. Always 2 steps, always reminding me that I am not alone. I press my hand against the wall, hoping for reassurance, but the surface pulses faintly beneath my palm. It's not stone, not wood. It feels warm, soft, as though I am touching skin. The realization makes me pull back instantly, wiping my hand against my shirt, but the warmth clings as though it has soaked into me. A low vibration begins beneath my feet, like the ground itself is humming. The sound rises and falls, a broken rhythm, almost a voice. I close my eyes. I could swear it's speaking, but the words are muffled, just out of reach. The longer I listen, the more my ears ache. A pressure building that feels like it will rupture me from the inside. Far behind me, there's movement, a shape flickering at the edge of sight. Never steady, never whole. I turn quickly, my chest tight, but the hallway stretches into the void, empty and endless. Still, I know what I felt. Something was there. Something waiting. The light above me buzzes louder, brighter, before dimming again. For a moment, the entire hall plunges into shadow. In that fraction of darkness, I feel a breath on the back of my neck. Warm, close. When the light flickers back on, I am alone, but my skin remembers. My legs grow heavy, each step requiring more effort, like I am walking through water. The walls narrow, pressing closer, claustrophobic. The ceiling lowers with each stretch of the passage, forcing me to bow my head slightly. It is as if the hallway itself is reshaping, bending to keep me trapped inside it. And then I see it again, the door. Closer now, though I don't remember moving forward. Its outline glows faintly, like the wood is burning from within, though no flame is visible. My heart pounds in my chest, urging me to turn, to run, but the echo of the second set of footsteps grows louder. It's chasing me toward the thing I should never touch. All right, here's the expansion you asked for. I've written 7 more immersive paragraphs in the same whispery, cinematic style, without titles or bold text, so you can drop them right into your script to deepen the atmosphere. The closer I move toward the door, the more the air itself begins to change. It thickens, almost syrupy, clinging to my skin and dragging at my every movement. My breaths come shallow, uneven, as though the space between myself and that door is shrinking into something heavier than gravity. I try to convince myself it's only a dream, but the pain in my lungs, the sting in my throat, feels too real to dismiss. The knocking returns, louder this time, shaking the frame. Not frantic, not violent, still steady, still patient, as though it knows I will eventually give in. Each thud reverberates through the floor beneath me, sending shivers into my legs, rattling in my bones. I cover my ears, but the sound doesn't stop. It's already inside me, beating against my ribs like a second heart. I whisper to myself, desperate, trying to anchor my mind. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. The words fall flat, swallowed by the hallway that listens too closely. My voice doesn't echo anymore, not the way it should. Instead, something repeats after me, just half a beat late, like a child mocking me in a dark corner I cannot see. The handle of the door gleams, slick with something that drips down and stains the floor. My hands shake, but they lift anyway, moving toward the handle as though strings have been tied to my fingers and pulled tight. No matter how I resist, my body betrays me, lured by something older than choice, stronger than fear. I stop just inches away, the heat radiating off the wood, searing my skin without contact. My chest tightens. Every instinct screams at me to run, to turn back, but there is no back anymore. The hallway behind me is gone, swallowed by shadows that breathe and shift like a tide. My only path is forward, and forward means the door. I hear it again, my own voice. This time it's clear, close, pressed against the wood on the other side. The same tone, the same rhythm, but wrong. Too smooth, too hollow. It whispers, soft and pleading. Let me in, please. Let me in. The sound chills me more than any scream could, because it's me, and yet it's not. The knocking stops. Silence settles over everything, heavier than the air, heavier than the dream itself. I wait, trembling, afraid to breathe too loud, afraid that even the sound of my heartbeat might call it back. And then the handle twitches, just slightly, as though whatever waits on the other side no longer needs my permission to enter. It's an old wooden door, carved with symbols I don't understand, the kind of symbols you don't want to understand. I know, deep in my bones, that this door was never meant to be opened. The knocking begins again. It's from the other side, soft, patient. I whisper to myself, don't answer it. Don't ever answer it. But in dreams, you don't always control what you do. Hand moves before your mind does. And when my fingers brush the handle, the door breathes. The wood creaks as the handle trembles, a faint metallic rattle that seems to echo far louder than it should. I press my back against the opposite wall, trying to merge with it, hoping the shadows will swallow me instead of the thing at the door. The silence that follows is worse than the knocking. It's worse than the whispers. It is a silence that listens, a silence that waits. My skin prickles, every hair standing on end, as if invisible hands hovered just above me, never touching, but always there. I can't help but glance at the door again, expecting it to swing open, expecting whatever waits to spill out and drag me through. But it doesn't. It simply stands, patient, as though it knows time itself bends in its favor. I try to step back, but the wall behind me pulses again, warm, soft, like flesh stretching against my spine. A shudder runs through me, and I press forward despite my terror, because even the thought of touching that wall again is unbearable. Every breath I take is ragged, shallow, as though the air is alive and resists entering my lungs. The lights above flicker once more. For a fraction of a second, everything vanishes into complete darkness, and in that blink, I feel movement swift, close, brushing past my ear. When the light snaps back on, the hallway looks the same, but I am certain I am no longer alone. The second echo, the phantom step that has haunted me, is no longer distant. It is in perfect rhythm with my own. Stumble toward the door, not because I want to, but because the shadows behind me feel thicker, pressing, guiding me closer. Each step feels like sinking into a dream within a dream, layers folding over me, drowning me in something I don't understand. The handle gleams, slick and wet, as though it's been waiting for my hand. My fingertips hover above it. I feel heat radiating from the metal, pulsing like a living vein. My stomach twists, bile rising in my throat, but I can't pull away. A whisper leaks through the cracks in the wood, soft and trembling. exactly in my voice. You can't leave until you let me in. My heart pounds so violently, I think it will burst. I squeeze my eyes shut, trying to scream, trying to tear myself free, but my body refuses. It's not mine anymore. I can feel the strings, invisible and unbreakable, dragging my hand down until my fingers graze the handle. The moment my skin touches it, a shiver like electricity floods my body. My teeth chatter uncontrollably. My vision blurs. The wood groans as though the door is exhaling, releasing something that has been waiting for years. I try to step back, but my feet route themselves to the floor, refusing to move. The knocking doesn't return. Instead, there is a low hum, deep, vibrating through the walls, through the floor, through my chest. It is a sound older than language, one that feels like it has been calling me since before I was born. My own blood seems to answer, pulsing in rhythm with it. I whisper again, begging myself to wake up, to open my eyes and find myself in bed, safe, breathing. But there is no waking. The dream is too deep, too strong. The door pulses beneath my hand like a living thing. With every throb, my strength weakens. A draft slips through the cracks around the frame, but it isn't cold, it's warm, damp, carrying with it the smell of soil, iron, and rot. It fills my lungs until I gag, coughing, desperate for clean air. My knees buckle, but the strings pull me upright again, forcing me to stay. The whispers return. Not one voice this time, but many. Hundreds, thousands, all of them mine, layered and twisted, speaking over each other. Begging, pleading, commanding, open it, open it, open it. The sound burrows into my skull, scraping against the bone, flooding every thought until I can't think at all. I feel the handle turn under my hand, though I didn't move it. Slowly, patiently, metal grinding against metal. My other hand claws at the wall, at the floor, desperate to fight back, but it's useless. The dream has decided for me. The crack widens as the door shifts, the faintest sliver of darkness seeping through. Not ordinary darkness, thick, alive, writhing like smoke. It spills out and curls around my ankles, winding upward, gripping tight. My skin burns where it touches, but I can't shake it off. A shape leans close through the opening. It's not a shadow, not a reflection, something worse. It's my own face peering out at me, smiling with a mouth too wide, eyes too black, dripping with something that glistens in the flickering light. It whispers one last time, soft and sweet, in a tone I cannot resist. You should have answered sooner. Behind the door is me. I stand there, identical. But something is wrong. My reflection smiles too wide. Its eyes shine, wet and black, like polished stone. It doesn't speak at first. It just watches, breathes. Then it whispers, in my exact voice, "Let me in. Please, let me in." I slam the door shut, but when I turn back, the hallway is gone. I am inside a shifting house. The silence after the slam is suffocating, heavier than before, as if the very air is pressing against me. My back still tingles from where the door shook beneath my hands, and for a moment, I don't dare to breathe. I wait, straining my ears for footsteps, whispers, anything that might tell me it's still out there. Nothing comes, but the absence of sound feels worse than any knock. When I finally turn, expecting to see the endless hallway stretching before me, I freeze. The corridor is gone. In its place, crooked walls lean inward, bending at odd angles, as though the house is folding in on itself. Doorways open into staircases that twist upward into shadows, and windows reveal nothing but brick where sky should be. I take a cautious step, and the floor groans beneath me. The sound reverberates strangely, as though the house itself feels the weight of my presence. The wallpaper peels and curls, its faded patterns shifting like eyes that follow my every move. I try to convince myself it's an illusion, but my pulse won't steady. Something in this place knows I don't belong. It's the sound of footsteps, slow and patient, pacing across the upper floor. My breath catches in my throat. The rhythm is too familiar, each step matching mine perfectly, just a beat behind. Driven by instinct, I search for an exit. I find a staircase, but when I climb it, the steps stretch beneath my feet. No matter how many I take, the landing drifts further away, like I'm running in place. My legs ache, my chest burns, but I can't reach the top. The footsteps above continue to follow, mocking, waiting. A door slams somewhere deeper in the house. The sound rattles through the walls, shaking dust loose from the ceiling. Whirl around, heart pounding, but the source is impossible to find. Every door I see seems to shift when I look away, their frames bending and twisting as though they're alive. The air grows hotter, thicker. The wallpaper breathes, expanding and contracting like lungs. I press a hand to the wall, and it throbs beneath my palm, wet and warm. I jerk away in disgust, but the pulse lingers in my fingers, an echo I can't shake. I stumble into what looks like a living room, though its proportions are wrong. The ceiling arches too high, the furniture bends at unnatural angles, and the fireplace smolders with a fire that emits no heat, only a dim, oily glow. In the reflection of the blackened glass, I see movement behind me. I spin around, but nothing is there. Only the room, still and warped. My breathing grows ragged, my chest tightening, as though the house itself is squeezing me. The reflection in the glass shifts again, this time slower, deliberate. My own silhouette grins back at me, though I am not smiling. It steps forward in the reflection, but not in reality. My body remains frozen, yet the figure in the glass tilts its head, studying me with a hunger that makes my skin crawl. I feel the urge to shatter the glass, to destroy whatever thing stares back, but fear roots me in place. A sound rises behind me, not footsteps this time, but a wet dragging, like something being pulled across the floor. I refuse to turn, too afraid of what I'll see, but the sound grows closer, circling, filling the room until it presses against my ears. Finally, against my will, I glance over my shoulder. The room is empty, yet the sound continues. My pulse thunders in my ears, my knees threatening to buckle. The reflection laughs softly, though no sound escapes my own mouth. Stagger back, colliding with the wall. The entire house groans, the floor shuddering beneath my weight. The doors around me all slam shut at once, the echoes colliding in a deafening boom. The laughter in the glass becomes sharper, higher, until it feels like it will split my skull. My vision blurs. I clutch at my temples, desperate to block it out, but the sound only grows louder, and then, in one sharp instant, everything stops. The laughter, the dragging, the footsteps, silence. I lift my head slowly, and for a heartbeat, I believe it's over. But then, I see it, my doppelganger has stepped free of the glass. It stands in the center of the room now, its body too perfect, too identical, except for the eyes, black, shining, endless. And it smiles at me as though it has finally been set free. Rooms rearrange themselves when I blink. Doors open into staircases that lead nowhere. Windows look out into walls. I hear voices upstairs, my family's voices. But when I rush to find them, the stairs stretch, each step pulling further away. And behind me, the doppelganger moves through the house, not walking, just appearing, always closer. The house breathes like a living thing. Its walls expand and contract like lungs, like it's alive, like it wants me inside forever. And when the walls finally crack open, I fall. The fall feels endless, though I know the house has not given me that kind of mercy. The walls around me ripple like liquid, folding and twisting, carrying me deeper. My arms flail, but the air itself feels thick, resisting every movement. I scream, but the sound dies before leaving my throat, smothered by the dream itself. When I finally hit the ground, it isn't with pain, but with a sickening softness, as though I've landed on something alive. The floor gives beneath my weight, bending like flesh before hardening again. I scramble to my feet, refusing to look too closely at what lies beneath the dust and shadows. The room around me shifts with every blink. The wallpaper melts, dripping down the walls like wet paint before reforming into new patterns I can't recognize. Doors vanish as quickly as they appear. Windows stretch and shrink, warping the world beyond into incomprehensible shapes. Then I hear it again, their voices. My mother calling my name. My father's low hum, the one he used to carry when he thought no one was listening. My sister's laughter, distant but warm. They sound so real that my chest aches, and against every instinct, I follow the sound. The stairs appear ahead of me once more, rising into the dark above. This time, I climb, desperate, certain that if I just push harder, I will find them. My legs burn, my lungs sear, but I climb. Yet the landing stretches further, each step taking me nowhere. The voices grow louder, clearer, pulling me onward, even as I realize I am being tricked. Behind me, the sound of movement. I don't hear footsteps, I never do. But I feel the shift in the air, the way the space bends as it enters. The doppelganger doesn't chase, it simply arrives, always where I do not want it to be. The knowledge that it is near keeps me climbing until my legs nearly give out. I collapse onto the stairs, gasping, sweat dripping from my brow. The voices fade, replaced with silence, so complete that it roars in my ears. My own heartbeat is the only sound left, and even that begins to feel borrowed, as though the house itself owns it now. Something drips from above. I tilt my head back, and in the darkness overhead, I see nothing but black. Then a single drop lands on my cheek, warm, metallic. I wipe it away, but the smear across my hand is unmistakable. Blood. The staircase groans, the wood beneath me twisting as if it resents my weight. I try to stand, but the steps buckle, folding inward like jaws. I leap aside, crashing into the wall, but even the wall shudders, shifting under my touch, trying to swallow me whole. The house is not collapsing, it's reshaping itself, closing in. It does not want me lost within it. It wants me consumed. Each breath I take draws the walls tighter, the ceiling lower, as though it is filling its lungs with me. In the distance, a laugh echoes, sharp and mocking. Not my sister's, not my aunt, it belongs to the thing wearing my face. The doppelganger's amusement cuts deeper than the house's suffocation. It knows I am running out of time. The walls split suddenly, cracks forming from ceiling to floor, opening like wounds. The air rushes through them, hot and foul, pulling me toward the gaps. I dig my fingers into the warped wood, splinters tearing into my flesh, but the force is relentless. Through the cracks, I glimpse something beyond. Not sky, not ground, but a forest of shadows, trees bent and clawing. The branches sway, though there is no wind, whispering words I cannot quite understand. I know the house is done with me, ready to spit me out into the next nightmare. My grip slips, and the pull grows too strong. The wall beneath me crumbles, the floor gives way. For one last heartbeat, I see my double at the top of the stairs, smiling with that perfect, black-eyed grin. It doesn't need to follow. It knows the dream will carry me exactly where it wants me to go. And then the walls collapse entirely, and I fall again, spiraling down into the forest waiting below. I land in dirt. Dark trees rise around me, tall, crooked. Their branches twist like claws, scraping the sky. There is no wind, yet the leaves whisper, whispering my name, over and over. I walk, but the path never changes. The forest repeats itself. Every tree looks the same. Every shadow holds movement that vanishes when I look directly at it. And then I see something in the distance. A dim light. A train station. Forgotten. Abandoned. Waiting. The dirt beneath my hands is cold, damp, and it clings to my skin, as though it wants to drag me further into the earth. I push myself up slowly, but the weight of the air presses down heavy, making every breath a struggle. The forest is silent for only a moment before the whispers begin again, faint and stretched, as if spoken from far away, yet right beside me. The trees loom impossibly tall, their trunks twisting into shapes that almost resemble figures. Some bend low, their branches hanging like arms, poised to snatch me from the path. I keep moving, forcing myself forward, but the sensation of being watched does not fade. With every step, the feeling grows sharper, until I know without doubt that eyes follow me from the shadows. The ground softens, the soil sucking at my shoes, refusing to let me move easily. My pace slows, and each time I lift my foot, I hear a wet tear, as though the forest itself is reluctant to release me. The smell of moss and decay thickens, clinging to the back of my throat until I gag. I stop to catch my breath, and the whispers rise all at once. My name, over and over, in countless voices, some pleading, some mocking, some weeping. The sound circles me, chasing its own echo, until I can't tell which direction it comes from. I cover my ears, but the sound doesn't dim. It's inside me, threaded into the marrow of my bones. Shapes flicker between the trees, too quick to see, too vague to follow. They dart just out of reach, always gone when I turn my head. Once, I catch a glimpse of something pale, a hand maybe, retreating behind a trunk before vanishing. My heart slams against my chest, each beat harder, louder, as though it's trying to flee my body entirely. I break into a run, desperate to escape, but the path coils into itself. No matter how far I go, the forest repeats. The same bent tree with the scar down its bark. The same crooked roots reaching across the dirt like black veins. I could swear I've passed them a dozen times, yet each time they look freshly alive, waiting for me. I stumble and fall against a tree, pressing my hand to the bark. It's slick, wet. When I look down, my palm is smeared with dark crimson. The tree bleeds. A drop falls from a branch above, landing square on my cheek. Warm, I wipe it away, trembling, and when I glance up, the branches sway as though they've been stirred by unseen hands. Somewhere deeper in the forest, something calls, not my name this time, but a long, drawn-out wail. The sound rises and falls like the whistle of a train, distorted, broken, stretched too far to be natural. My chest tightens, because I know the sound is leading me toward the light I saw earlier. I push forward, even though my body screams to turn back. The trees close tighter around me, their branches tangling overhead until the forest becomes a tunnel. The whispers fade, replaced by the dull scrape of movement in the undergrowth. Whatever was following me before is closer now, pacing me step for step. The ground changes beneath my feet, the dirt giving way to gravel, loose stones crunching with every movement. My pulse quickens. The air smells different, dusty, metallic, stale with disuse. When the trees finally part, I see the outline of the platform ahead, its shape cracked and broken against the endless dark. I approach slowly, the wood of the platform groaning under my weight. The signs are rusted, the words unreadable, as though they've been swallowed by time. The dim light I saw before flickers weakly, dangling from a wire that sways despite the stillness of the air. The train sits waiting, its cars covered in grime, windows shattered. The metal creaks softly, as though it breathes. My gut twists with dread, but the silence of the forest behind me is worse, heavier. I know, without being told, that I cannot stay among the trees. I step closer, and the whispers return, but they no longer come from the forest. They seep from the open doors of the train, low and insistent, calling me forward. Each syllable sounds too familiar, my own voice, repeated and layered, spilling into the night. For a moment, I hesitate, staring into the broken windows, into the shadowed interior where no light reaches. The gravel shifts behind me, crunching as though a foot has stepped close. I whip around, but the forest is still empty. Only the trees remain, silent and waiting. I turn back. The train doors have opened wider on their own, screeching with rust. A faint gust of air rolls out, warm and sour, brushing across my face. My legs move before I can think, drawn forward, up onto the platform, toward the waiting darkness inside. The platform is cracked, the signs unreadable, but a train waits, rusty, silent. Inside, the seats are torn, covered in ash. No passengers, no conductor. Only a single note pinned to the wall. Don't go home. Not yet. The sound of footsteps fills the car, but no one is there. The air grows thick, heavy, suffocating, and in the window's reflection, my doppelganger smiles. The train doors slam shut, and the floor gives way, dropping me into darkness. The steps I take onto the platform feel brittle, as though the wood beneath me could snap at any moment. Each creak echoes far too loudly in the still night, bouncing off the broken walls of the station and vanishing into the void. I pause, holding my breath, listening for movement. But the only sound is the faint hum of the broken light above, flickering in uneven bursts. The train looms larger as I draw closer, its body a skeleton of rust and shadows. The metal seems to groan in protest with every flicker of light, like something old and tired that has been waiting far too long. Its windows are dark, shattered at the edges, jagged teeth that grin at me as I approach. I tell myself not to step inside, but the pull is stronger than my fear. The doors gape open with a sickly hiss, inviting me in. The smell hits first stale, metallic, almost sweet, like iron left too long in the rain. My stomach lurches, but my legs don't stop. I step onto the train, and the floor sags under my weight, as though it resents the intrusion. The interior is worse than the outside. Ash coats the seats in thick layers, disturbed only by the prints of something that has passed through before me. The fabric is torn, spilling, stuffing like innards across the aisle. The walls are smeared with dark stains that I refuse to examine too closely. At the far end, a single note flutters against the wall. The paper is yellowed, edges burned, as though it survived a fire. The words are simple, scratched in uneven strokes. Don't go home, okay? Not yet. My throat dries, and a chill crawls up my spine. Who wrote it? Who was it meant for? The train shudders as though in answer, a deep groan reverberating through the walls. Dust rains from the ceiling. The air thickens, heavy with something I can't see but feel pressing against my skin. I back away from the note, my chest tightening as though invisible hands are squeezing the air from me. Then it begins the sound of footsteps, soft at first, faint, as though far away. But each moment they grow louder, sharper, moving through the car toward me. My heart races as I scan the aisle, the empty seats, the shadows that stretch too far. There is no one there. The footsteps stop abruptly. The silence that follows is unbearable. I strain my ears, waiting, but nothing comes. My reflection in the cracked window catches my eye, and dread coils in my stomach. The glass is warped, but the figure looking back at me is clear. It's me, my own face, smiling faintly, though I am not smiling. Its lips stretch wider as I stare, splitting too far, teeth too many, too sharp. My breath hitches as I take a step back, but the reflection doesn't move with me. It leans closer instead, pressing its hand against the glass from the other side. I stagger into the aisle, knocking ash into the air. The reflection opens its mouth wider, impossibly wide, until the entire window warps around it. A sound leaks through low at first, then building a laugh, broken and hollow, echoing from everywhere at once. Before I can move, the train doors slam shut behind me with a thunderous crash. The metal logs grind together, sealing me in. Canid claws at my chest. I rush to the doors, pounding my fists against them, but they don't budge. The sound of my blows is swallowed, muted, as though the train itself has no intention of letting me go. The lights flicker out, plunging me into darkness. I freeze, listening, waiting for the footsteps to return. Instead, the floor beneath me groans, shifting as though alive. A low vibration rises under my feet, traveling up through my legs into my chest. The air grows hotter, suffocating. I gasp, but the oxygen feels thin, poisoned. My vision blurs, the shapes of the seats melting, warping into figures hunched and faceless, slumped as though they've been waiting for this moment. The floor buckles suddenly. A crack splinters through the center aisle, widening fast. I stagger, trying to hold onto a seat, but the fabric tears beneath my grip, disintegrating into ash. The gap grows wider, and through it, I see nothing but blackness. The train tilts violently, throwing me forward. Taint, my knees slam against the metal, sending pain shooting up my legs. The crack yawns open beneath me, endless, hungry. The reflection in the window grins one last time before it shatters into fragments of glass that fall into the abyss. I claw at the floor, desperate to stop myself from sliding into the opening, but the train seems to reject me. The very surface pushes against me, tilting, forcing me closer to the edge. The voices return, thousands of them, overlapping, chanting, in perfect rhythm with the shaking of the train. My hands slip. My body lurches. For one suspended moment, I hang above the darkness, the whispers rising like a storm below me. And then the floor gives way entirely, and I am falling, tumbling into the void. The sound of my own screams swallowed by the endless dart. The air rushes past me, but there is no wind. No sensation of speed, only the sensation of sinking deeper, as though the void itself is made of water. My limbs thrash, but there is no resistance, no ground to hit, just the endless descent. Shapes move in the darkness around me, pale and formless, swimming like predators in a black sea. Their whispers brush against my ears, words I can't understand, though my bones recognize them. They circle closer, brushing against my skin with cold, unseen fingers. A faint glow appears far below, a sickly light growing larger as I fall. My stomach knots with dread, because I know whatever waits for me at the bottom has been expecting me all along. The dream is guiding me, pulling me deeper into its design, piece by piece. The light expands until it surrounds me, swallowing the shadows. My body slams into something hard and wet, splashing up a spray of foul-smelling water. I choke, gasping, scrambling to rise, only to realize I've landed in a flooded basement. The water laps at my knees, dark and murky, hiding whatever might lurk below. I drag myself upright, shivering, drenched, my skin crawling with every ripple. The ceiling sags overhead, beams rotting, dripping filth into the water below. The space is tight, suffocating, walls slick with mold and something darker. And then I see it in the farthest corner. A figure standing motionless, half submerged in the water. It is tall, impossibly thin, its limbs too long. My breath stutters as my eyes rise to its face, smooth, featureless, nothing but blank skin stretched where eyes and mouth should be. It tilts its head as if it hears me, though it has no ears. My heart slams so hard against my ribs, I fear it will burst. The whispers return, but this time they come from its direction, spilling into the air, though it has no mouth. My own voice, multiplied, fractured, begging, screaming, whispering, all at once. I stumble back, splashing through the water, but it doesn't move. It only watches, faceless, yet intent. The water ripples outward from it, slow at first, then faster, rushing toward me as though the basement itself is collapsing into its presence. The knocking begins again, deafening, from everywhere above, behind, inside my skull. I clutch my head, falling to my knees in the water, unable to block it out. My own voice joins the knocking, whispering in unison, "Answer the door, answer the door, answer the door." The figure lifts a hand, slow, deliberate, reaching toward me, though the distance is impossible. My body seizes, frozen in terror, as though the dream itself has locked me in place. I know, in that moment, that waking is no longer an option. The water surges, rising past my waist, dragging me toward it. The basement shakes, beams splintering overhead. My scream tears free, but it is drowned instantly by the voices, my own voices, swallowing every sound. I land in water, knee-deep, cold. It's a basement, flooded. Rotting wood beams sag above me, and there, in the far corner, something stands, tall, thin, its face, smooth, no eyes, no mouth. Just skin stretched over where features should be. Yet I hear it whisper, 1,000 voices, all mine, all begging, pleading, screaming, "Answer the door, answer the door, answer the door." The knocking begins again, from somewhere above, from every wall, from inside my skull. I finally understand. I was never supposed to wake up. The water stings against my skin, as though it carries something corrosive, invisible, burning into me the longer I stand in it. My legs shake with the weight of fear, but my body refuses to move. My eyes are locked on the faceless figure, even though every instinct screams for me to look away. It tilts its head again, just slightly, like an animal curious about its prey. The whispers fill the room until the walls themselves tremble. Each voice is my own repeating words I never wanted to hear. Some plead for mercy, some laugh like they've already accepted what's coming, and others scream in rage. The cacophony builds until I no longer know which voice is the real me. The knocking grows louder, synchronized with my heartbeat, shaking the ceiling beams. Cant rains down, mingling with the rising water. Every thud reverberates through my chest, making it impossible to tell whether the sound comes from outside the basement or from inside my ribcage. I try to back away, but the water resists me, thickening around my legs like tar. Each movement is slow, heavy, as though I am being held in place deliberately. My arms thrash, splashing black ripples across the basement, but the water only grows colder, numbing me from the waist down. The figure steps forward. The sound of its movement is wrong, no splash, no ripple, just silence, as though the water itself parts to allow it through. My throat tightens, a strangled gasp escaping me as it raises its hand again. The fingers are too long, thin as sticks, yet impossibly strong in their stillness. It doesn't touch me. Instead, it stops a breath away, its hand hovering just above my chest. A vibration passes through me, a low hum that shakes my bones, rattling my teeth. My body locks up completely, muscles refusing to obey. The voices rise in unison, chanting now, hammering the words into my skull. "Answer the door, answer the door, answer the door." I clamp my hands over my ears, but the voices don't come from outside, they're inside me. My own tongue tries to form the words, forcing me to mouth them even as I fight to resist. I bite down hard on my lip, tasting blood, but even that doesn't silence them. The water rises higher, lapping against my chest. The faceless figure doesn't move, but the level climbs with every heartbeat. My lungs tighten, panic clawing through me. I can't swim, I can't move, I can only stand as the basement drowns me inch by inch. Something brushes against my leg beneath the surface, cold, smooth, like another hand. Then another, gripping my ankle, tugging gently at first, before pulling harder. I scream, jerking violently, but the figure only tilts its head further, as though amused by my struggle. The beams overhead groan, cracking, dripping splinters into the water. The knocking is unbearable now, thunderous, shaking the basement with every beat. My skull feels as though it will split in half, and for a moment I almost welcome a tiny thing to end this pressure. The figure leans closer until its blank face hovers just above mine. Even without eyes, I feel its stare piercing through me, stripping me bare. Its silence is worse than the voices. Its presence tells me the truth. The whispers only hint at Ty was never in control of this dream. It was never mine. The hands beneath the surface pull harder, dragging me downward. I choke as the water surges over my chin, my mouth, my nose. I fight, thrashing wildly, but the figure does not help or stop me. It only watches, tilting its head with unnatural calm, as if this was always the ending it knew I would reach. The water fills my lungs, burning, searing, tearing me apart from the inside. I claw upward, desperate for air, but the basement stretches, the ceiling drifting higher and higher, unreachable. My screams are lost in the flood, bubbles breaking against the surface, only to vanish. The last thing I see before the water swallows me entirely is the figure's hand pressing lightly against my chest, not to harm me, but to steady me, almost tender, almost kind. Then its voice, not many, not fractured, just one, my own, whispering clear and final into the drowning dark. You were never supposed to wake up. When I opened my eyes, I was back in my bed. The room was dark, still, and then the sound, a knock at the door, this time not in the dream, not in my head, but right there, in the real world. And I remembered the warning, never answer the door at night. But warnings don't matter, do they? Because sooner or later, the door always opens.